Today I'm honored to welcome l'Onorevole Giulio Centemero, member of the Italian Parliament and author of the Centemero Law, which supports startups and innovative small business in Italy. We are grateful to have him with us to discuss innovation, international collaboration, and the future of the Italian enterprise at home and abroad. Onorevole Centemero, welcome to Crave. Benvenuto a Crave, Italy.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. So let's begin with the Centemero Law itself. Onorevole Centemero, the so-called Centemero Law was created to support startups and innovative small business in Italy. Could you tell us how this law came about and how it can truly help young entrepreneurs and attract investment, including from abroad?
Yeah, sure. Basically, it's also nice to tell you how it was born, this law, because this is my second term. My first term was the one starting in 2018. And during the 5 years of that term, in which we changed three prime ministers, we had three governments, basically, me and a couple of other member of parliament wrote a startup law that consisted in about 25 articles, more or less, 25 articles. What we did was going around in the ministries to get the so-called opinions, because if you have something concerning, let's say, environment, you have to go to the environment ministry and ask their opinion on that. If you have something concerning labor, you have to do the same. If you have something concerning economic development, etc., etc., etc. So we went around all the ministries, and finally we got a green light only on like 4 articles. But then the term was over. So we went to elections, and I was the only one of those MPs being re-elected. I filed the 4 articles, and they started the path in the parliament, which is kind of rare in Italy, because nowadays we have more laws coming from the government and being, let's say, ratified by the parliament than laws starting from the parliament. Okay. But we basically tabled it, and we did voted for it in the finance committee at the Chamber of Deputies, and then in the plenary session it went to the Senate, same thing, came back to the Chamber of Deputies, and we voted for the law last October, before the financial bill started its path. Because when the financial bill starts, basically the parliament is busy for a couple of months, let's say, and you cannot vote any laws that has financial burdens in it, like the Centemero Law, the startup law. So basically, the Centemero Law is the first law on startups during this term. 2 more laws came afterwards, which are completing the scenario, and the law is basically including some measures in order to foster the sector, and in particular to provide funds and to create not only smarter tax schemes, tax incentives for startups and innovative enterprises, but also the law wants to create local investment managers focused on startups and SMEs.
For those living abroad who wants to invest in or support innovation in Italy, what concrete opportunities does the Centemero Law offer, number one, and are there any tax incentive or tools specifically designed for Italians around the world?
Okay, so for people living abroad, for Italians living abroad or non-Italians living abroad, the law itself contains only one provisions, I would say, or two provisions actually. One is the what we called in the media we called it fund of funds, but actually it's an umbrella fund. So basically, CDP, Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, its equity branch, CDP Equity, is putting 500 million euros pari passo in private newly incorporated fund managed by partnership that could be also be foreign partnership and invested also by in case foreign entities. How does it work? Basically, CDP gives 35 millions to each newly incorporated fund in Italy. The private investors have to put 35 plus 1, so 51% of the investment, and the privates are managing the funds, and they have to invest mainly in local small caps listed in the Italian stock exchange. So what's the advantage for even Italians living abroad and managing funds? Of course, the, the advantage is that you have a patient, institutional, state-owned investor that will keep his money at least for 5 years invested in the fund. So this is one thing, and it works for the de-risking of the investments so that we put investments in the real economy. And we are also stimulating our pension funds because we have a huge amount of money in the pension funds and in the savings of the Italians. We are people that likes to save money. Another provision is that always, if you are an investment manager, whereas the investments of, in this case, Italian residents, individuals, give some dividends, those dividends, if are reinvested in venture capital, then the capital gains are non-taxed. So this is another tax incentive that can be enjoyed also by, for example, venture capitalists that wants to lend in Italy. Then there are advantages for Italian tax residents, which means the deductions, which is that the deductions can become tax credit and go being carried on. Now, it's quite technical. For Italian residents abroad, actually in 2009, I was a reader of the so-called growth decree, where we enlarged a lot the brain drain law. Then it was a little restricted recently, but still it gives great advantages in case you have been living abroad for a while and you want to come back to live in Italy. And these advantages are not only for Italians, but also for foreigners willing to come to Italy and work. Then other specific advantages are given, for example, to there's a startup visa, there are investment manager exemptions, and so on. So there are sector-specific tax incentives in order to attract talents and capitals.
Why do you believe that the Bay Area should be a part of a conversation of Italian innovation? And what does the region represent for those looking to invest or grow in the tech sector behind Silicon Valley?
Yeah, so I think the Bay Area is important because we need to learn from it. We need to learn from it. There's an ecosystem that was born, and especially there's a lot of contamination. I mean, you can find people coming from all over the world, India, China, Bangladesh, you name it, you can find it here. While, for example, if you stay in Italy, we are kind of a very uniform country. Yeah, there is a kind of diversification right now, but still we have more or less all the same religion, we speak the same language, so we
Right.
can see so many different point of views, which is key in order to succeed in a business idea or any other kind of idea, even in a cultural idea. Second, in order to succeed, our startups, our ventures need to have a global reach. So you can understand what's the global reach coming here and seeing what's happening here and maybe checking the market here. Of course, you can check the market also in other countries, not only in the USA. But this is kind of easier also because the diaspora is helping a lot. The Italian diaspora is a excellent resource, and Italians are in very good positions in the Silicon Valley. And from there, you can go beyond. So it would be nice to take back home also some Silicon Valley to Italy. And for example, what I'm taking back from this trip is that in Italy, we have to work a lot to fight against the stigma of failure. If you fail in a startup, if you fail in something in Italy, you're kind of guilty. And our bankruptcy law, it's quite strict. You go into many troubles. Instead, here it's different, and I think it's the right approach because if you fail, it means that you've been an entrepreneur. You risk, you put skin in the game, and you did research, and maybe you made patents, you registered patents, you made products that can be useful anyway to develop the sector and can be useful to another company. So we have to work a lot on our culture in order to understand that failure leads to success.
Exactly. I love that. It's true, actually. They give an opportunity here because when you fail, also you learn. Sometimes you have to. Yeah.
Of course, and we have to work a lot also in our on our financial institutions. So, as you
Mhm.
understood, there's also another part of my law which simplify and facilitate the creation of venture capital in order to allow also people that can raise, I don't know, not much. They can raise 80 million, 100 million euros
Mhm.
to be venture capitalists. So the idea is to create experts in investment, in innovation, technology, SMEs, startups, innovative enterprises. And these people, they definitely have to uh, come here in the Bay Area, check what's happening, maybe go somewhere else, Seattle,
Mhm.
Miami, maybe India. But this is the starting point, in my opinion.
As a president of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Mediterranean, could you briefly tell us about this role and any key events or initiative planned in the near future?
Yeah. So basically, I was elected in February. We had our plenary in Rome. As Chamber of Deputies and Senate, we hosted the plenary. The Parliamentary Assembly of the Mediterranean is a body of parliamentary diplomacy, which means basically it's a platform where countries that never had or sometimes didn't have diplomatic relations because of conflicts or for other reasons,
Right.
mainly geopolitical. At the governmental level, they couldn't talk. Uh, Israel and Palestine, for example, we included the Emirates and Qatar when there was a crisis in the GCC so that they could have a platform of discussion. In this moment, also Algeria and Morocco, they don't talk. and so forth. There are many cases in the Mediterranean, and now we expanded to the GCC countries, and we hold one plenary every year. We have three commissions, three committees: economic, social, and political. And we also have a forum for the women, which is very important because, as you know, conditions of women in some countries is still difficult. So there's an exchange of good practices, and this moment the chair lady of this forum is a parliamentarian from the United Arab Emirates. There will be the next forum will be in Abu Dhabi in June. Our economic committee is holding a economic forum of the Mediterranean in Marrakesh, Morocco, in May. And the next initiative, which is one of the reasons why I came here, it's going to be a forum for the youth of the Mediterranean, because we need to create jobs. We need to create jobs for our new generations, starting from tech. So we need to understand how to decline the new wave of industrial revolution coming especially from AI in our countries. And for Italy, I think we should have a role of hub for the Mediterranean, like a first step for all those countries that cannot have a domestic market. For example, for geopolitical reasons, maybe they don't even speak with their neighbors, or they have a financial crisis. So we can definitely become a first platform to the West, or at least to the European market.
So my final question, what continue to inspire you personally in your mission to support innovation, entrepreneurship and global connection, Onorevole?
First of all, I believe that we should leave. I know it can sound very cliche, but I think we should leave a better world to our kids. And as a father, I have to work for that, for my son and for all the other kids. And it's really heartbreaking seeing, especially in my function as president of the PAM, seeing so many kids dying or without having possibilities of getting an education in countries not even so far from Italy. And I don't want to see that anymore because it's really heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. So we identified as in all history innovation as the driver to create jobs, to create prosperity, etc., etc., etc. Every step of history was accompanied by innovation, starting from Leonardo da Vinci on, and even before, actually. So this is why I'm going on to do this. And as a member of Parliament of Italy, now we are quite stable. We have a stable majority. But in the past, we had governments lasting maybe 6 months, 7 months, etc., etc. In the last term, we had 3 governments. I know every day can be the last day in which I'm in a parliamentary majority. So I have to score results every single day in order to improve the tech ecosystem, the financial ecosystem, and to gain competitive advantage for Italy and for the future generations.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing, actually. Thank you.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure, and I hope there will be other occasions. And
Sure,
if I
yes.
can help, I'm very happy to do so.
Onorevole Centemero, thank you so much for being with us today. We are proud to share this conversation with the Crave community across Italy and the US. Special thanks to the Consul General of Italy in San Francisco for supporting this episode. Stay tuned right here on Crave Italy. Ci vediamo presto. Ciao a tutti. Grazie.